Hey, it's your girl Gaby Delismé, and you are live in the lab. This evening we've got Dr. Carey Yazeed with us. She is the Beyonce of professional development. She's the host of Beauty, Brains, and Business, the podcast, as well as the conference. She's an author, professor, and speaker. So tune in.
And just make that investment in yourself to see, if I stay here, do I even need to go in and renegotiate my salary? Like, are they paying me what I'm worth? Looking at everything that you brought to the table and say, I know y'all said a 2% raise, but I think maybe I need like a 10% raise. Like, know your worth, ladies. That's all I say.
Yes. And in a section of the book, you mentioned like losing friends that you thought were friends, but those relationships had to be like, you had to exit out of those relationships. What do you say for someone who wants to hold on to those dead relationships?
It's not going to happen. Like, dead wages brings you down. And some people, you have to realize, why are they around you in the first place? Are they adding value to your life? Some people are emotional vampires. Ooh. So they come and they drain the life out of you. And then when they finish, you spend all this time helping them with their problems. You turn around and you knee deep in your own problems that you never address because, and now you don't even have the energy to address. Right. So you have to realize who those people are, what value are they bringing to your life. If they are negative Nancy, and every time you bring up something, they're telling you, you got that good job. I don't know why you're talking about going start a business. Girl, you just need to be happy with that man. He provided for you. You got a roof over your head. Like, if they always have a counter and they're not listening to you, sometimes those are not the right people, or you need to have a distant relationship. Like my mom used to say, handle them with a long handle spoon. And it might be that you don't interact with them daily. But I really found myself in a situation where the people that I thought were my friends, I heard about, I can't believe you left a good job at a university. Dude, I was about to get killed. Like, and so they didn't hear that it couldn't have been that bad. You're exaggerating. Those were some of the things that I heard. And then when I talked about entrepreneurship, it became like, why would you want to do that? Or they would always cut me off. So they never wanted to hear what I was working on, what I was doing. And it's not about being supportive financially, but sometimes just listening to your friends. And so I really had to say, are y'all my friends? Because I have listened to all of your problems. I have helped you get from A to B and B to C, and I'm still stuck over here on negative A. Like, y'all haven't even helped me get anywhere. And so and it's hard because sometimes these are people you've been with for a long time.
Yeah.
But everybody who rides, my thing is, if they don't want to ride with you in the pink Pinto, they don't need to get in the pink limo.
Yep. And that is plain and clear right there. Yes. The kids, they say no new friends, but sometimes you have to assess your old friends to make sure that that y'all are a match. Because people outgrow each other at certain phases of their lives. So, yep.
Yeah. You're right, we do.
And so earlier you talked about assessments, like the career assessment. How important is it for us to assess our individual strengths and weaknesses? And how do you do that?
Oh, if you work with me, like as a business coach, that's one of the things that I do have you to do, is that you need to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how can those help you in your business. Even your weaknesses can be an asset. But the thing is, a lot of times we don't even sit down and think about it. So a great tool you can use is called a SWOT analysis, and they're usually used for businesses. You can do a SWOT analysis on yourself. It's the same thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so doing one of those is really eye-opening, because if you've done it from an organizational standpoint, That's one thing. But to look at yourself as an organization, or to look at yourself as a business and say, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? How can I take this and I can make this, grow for me? What can I do to overcome some of the weaknesses that I have? Or how can this weakness, how can I leverage it? So when I sat down and did that, again, that was one of the things that I did when I took some time off. And really, I said, it was eye-opening, because I really had never sat down and assessed myself.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about knowing your worth and empowering yourself, do a SWOT analysis. That'll boost your confidence real, because we all have strengths.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to focus on our weaknesses and what we're not good at, instead of focusing on what we are good at.
Yes, I'd agree 100%. So ladies, y'all heard that. A SWOT analysis on our individual selves. So personally. And Dr. Yazeed, I know you are getting ready to celebrate a milestone birthday. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
So 5 years ago, would you have seen yourself where you are right now?
Oh, no. 5 years ago, actually, I was just finishing up my PhD. So technically,
congratulations.
Yeah, I was finishing up that. And so I saw myself again, college professor. I think at this point, my plan that I had for myself was to be in administration. And my ultimate goal was to actually be the president of a HBCU. So that was like when I laid out my strategy for where I saw myself, that's what it was. So at 50, I'm not the president of an HBCU, but I'm the president of my own company.
Yeah.
So, I'm not on a college campus teaching, but now I teach women virtually from around the world.
Yeah.
So it may not look exactly like I had planned it out. And I never would have saw myself like this, but they say you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So I think he was like, that's cute, but I got bigger for you.
Yeah.
So we're just going, so no, 5 years ago, no, but everything that I did has helped me to be where I am today. So it all makes sense once you get there.
And we don't necessarily see how the puzzle is supposed to lay out as God knows. But all of the pieces, when we step back and look at it, we're like, oh, that's what that was for. Mm-hmm. And I love that, being able to know and understand that that life is really happening for us, as if we allow it to, stop like bucking the system, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so 5 years from now, where do you see yourself?
5 years from now, I see myself on an international stage. So I'll be 55, so I'll still be young.
Yes.
Fabulous. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I'll still be, my goal is to, travel the world. I think I'm seeing myself now pulling back a little bit from a virtual business and actually getting back to connecting with people in real time. So I'm now working with the team to help me get to that point where I want to be. So I still see me kind of doing what I'm doing, but in a different light.
Cool. And can you share a little bit about your publishing negotiations? I don't know the proper terminology. Is it something that you recently shared that you have on the horizon?
Yes. So as you mentioned, I've written several books, and Lipstick, Heels, and Hustle is actually the last one that I've written. But I've been writing books since like 2006, 2007. Actually had one of my books to become like an urban best-selling novel. So I've been doing this for a while, as you can see. And basically I was doing everything as a self-publisher. So I had my own publishing company, and I still do, because I'm not the person that you tell me no, and I just say, okay, then, and I give up. I was just, well, okay, you said no, I'll go start my own company. So that's what I did. I started my own publishing company. And recently, I'll say back then, African-American writers were not being put in the space with our competitors, especially urban writers. And so publishing houses would not touch us with the 10-foot pole. And it was just, but we were selling books and we were doing well, but they wouldn't touch us. And so now we're seeing a shift where Netflix is taking our books and turning them into movies. Amazon is taking our books and turning them into movies. Our books are landing on BET as miniseries. Like, you're seeing books that were, and sometimes people don't even realize that these were hot urban novels back in like your late 90s, early 2000s, that those books are coming back, but now you're seeing them you're visually seeing them. Yes. And so I was actually approached by a literary agency. And again, in the past, had been told no by so many. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever. And so we sat down and negotiated, and they really saw value. Like, you've written, because they just saw Lipstick Hills and Hustle. And it was just like, well, we're really looking like for a package. And I said, well, what kind of package? Yeah. And they said, well, just the way around it. So it was just like, oh, hold up. I got this. And they were just like, wait, you've written all those books? And it's just like, yeah, what else you need? Like, I had a whole arsenal of stuff. And so, again, you don't realize what you're doing sometimes in your life, and it might not make sense. And so in 2007, I never would have saw myself, because I pretty much given up. Like, I just write because I want to, that a company would be interested in me and say, we can take you and package you and shop you around to Netflix, to Amazon, to BET. Like, and I'm just sitting there like, really? Oh, okay then. Where I stand? Let's go. So that recently happened. Now I think it's been like 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Congratulations on that. And that definitely shows that persistence and continuously showing up matters.
It does. It really does.
And we've got to think like long term. So not just doing something like short and quick, for the moment, but something that can continuously be adding a source of revenue to you, repurposing content, repackaging, as you build a sustainable business.
Right, exactly. And again, you might be, your brand. So for me, I know my brand. I'm not going to put anything out there, and I really haven't thought it through. Now, I've had people say, well, it looked like you just threw that up there. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. And I was like, I don't do throwing the spaghetti on the wall and watching it slide down. Like, everything that I do is strategic. And I've been like that ever since I've been a business owner. So you have to always remember your brand, and that's where my consistency comes in. Even if I pivot and do something new, people still know me. And that's what branding is about. So some people will tell you, you brand your business. And I'm like, no. I was like, if y'all knew how many businesses I've had and the names I've had, people don't remember that. People remember me, and what they'll say is, well, what are you doing now? And they get excited because they're like, well, we know it's something good. And so that means that I've been consistent. I've continuously put myself in front of them. When I've written books, I've sat down and said, how does this work with what I'm doing now? And how does this add value to me as a professional and add value to my business? So again, everything is strategic. And like you said, it's not just, oh, let me hurry up and do this real quick.
No, planning. And because you've mentioned that like multiple times, planning and reviewing and being organized and methodical in your process and how you do that. Yeah.
Yes, you do. And I always used to tell people, you don't have to understand my madness, but I have a method to my madness. So as long as I understand it, that's all that matters.
Yes.
And so, the world does, you don't have to explain yourself to people. People don't have to understand what it is that you're doing. But as long as you're seeing growth and you're seeing movement, girlfriend, that means you're doing something right. Keep moving. That's all I say, is just keep moving and eventually it's all going to come together.
I'd agree. And thank you. And so for someone who wants to work with you or find out what you're doing, touch base with you, how do they get in contact with you? Where do they go to find out more and learn about you?
You can always visit my website, which is Yazeed.com. You can also be on social media. So I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Those are my jams. All of those you can find me as Dr. Carey Yazeed. And I'm updating, so I keep people informed what it is that I'm doing. I do answer like my messages on social media, but you can also go to my website and contact me from there as well.
Awesome. You have 2 sons, right? What do they think about their mom and her business and entrepreneurship? And are they young entrepreneurs too?
Yes and no. So they've been with me for the long ride, for the long haul of this. And so actually I sit down and bounce stuff off of them because they know me the best. And as they're young adults now. So now we really sit down. And so when I do a lot of my strategic planning, it's with my 2 sons.
That is awesome.
Getting them to go into entrepreneurship has kind of been like, one, I'm getting there, the other one is slow. And again, it's them finding themselves and coming into their own. Do I see them taking over my businesses? Probably not. I see them going in different directions, but I think they learn from me each and every day. And they've been learning since they were like 10 and 7. So we've been doing this for a while.
So they're getting their learning in. That is awesome.
Exactly.
Well, it was such a pleasure to meet you virtually, I guess, and actually have a conversation with you.
Well, thank you again for having me. This has been fun.